it's Ruth here from Learn to Read Music, and today I'm launching a new video series which asks the question, what makes a good musician? So it might seem like a simple question, but the answer is that it's anything but simple. And I want to use this series of videos to explore the many different things that makes for a good musician and how actually they're not always the most obvious things that you might think of. So today in this video, I'm going to start the series off with one that I think is a little left field, but it's one I teach my students from the beginning. So, what makes a good musician? Being able to spot patterns. We spot patterns in life all the time. Patterns of behaviour in people, mathematical patterns, coding in computer science, if you're OCD like me, patterns of paving blocks on the street, and things like patterns in knitting and different skills like that. And why do we do that? Well, we do it because as humans, spotting patterns help us make sense of things in our head. So it gives us a sense of order in all the chaos, and it helps us to understand things and break them down into smaller, more digestible parts. And you know what? It's exactly the same with music. So the bane of every music teacher's life is scales, and trying to get their students to understand why they're so important and why they're being forced to play them. So apart from the obvious reasons, though, things like for muscle memory or to help you deal with a complex passage in a piece of music, it's primarily because they are patterns. So if you play an instrument and you know your scales, you can look at a difficult passage of music and see a pattern straight away. You might think on the surface, oh wow, this looks really difficult, but you'll probably then go, well, let's take a look at it and see what looks familiar to me. And you know, when you start to look, maybe you'll realise that it's not actually that difficult because it's just, I don't know, a D flat major scale here or a B flat minor arpeggio there, and all of a sudden something that looked very complicated is a whole lot more familiar. But you don't even need to be able to read music to spot musical patterns. So if you've noticed that the song you're singing in your community choir, who don't use music, goes verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, bridge, chorus, then you've spotted a pattern that's going to make remembering the words way easier. Now, this has many knock-on effects. So you can process the difficult stuff quicker, which means you'll probably be able to play it better because you've made sense of it. And the more and more you do this, the more familiar even the difficult things become. And ultimately, what happens is you're probably going to be able to sight read better too, because you've seen similar patterns before. So in music theory, spotting patterns is a skill that we teach, particularly on the Learn to Read Music course. It's an essential part of being a good musician, and it's also, fantastically, a skill that musicians don't even really realise that they are doing. But it's only one part, so tune into the next video series to see what other skills and qualities it takes to make a good musician.